Due to the coronavirus pandemic, this academic school year will be unlike any we've had before. The uncertainty of what to expect puts new stresses on children in our community. Kim Crawford, a therapist with the Family Services Center in Huntsville, joins us now to talk more about the issue. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Parents have just a few days to choose between the virtual and traditional school learning option for their children. We've talked about the stresses this puts on parents, but what are children going through right now?
Not knowing, what the school is going to look like day to day. Younger kids, not knowing if they're going to see their friends, and just how even just the learning process is going to be, whether it's, in school or virtual. I think that places a lot of stress on the kids of not having an idea of what to expect.
For parents selecting the traditional school option, what is the best way to prepare their children emotionally and mentally for this new learning environment?
Talking to the kids about, obviously the health measures and how that's important and how that's going to affect them. And, if there are some things that are in place that the schools have let parents know. So making sure that the kids are educated about that. Emotionally, it's going to be tough, for the kids. So I think as with any change or any new adventure that children go on, the parents need to be open and honest with their kids and really listen to what their fears are and be able to, if they can, calm those fears any way they can, or even if they don't know, to be honest and say, that they don't really know what to expect as well.
Especially for elementary school children, these are important formative years. What might be the long-term implications of some of these social changes we're seeing now, like wearing masks, social distancing, and not being able to be close with their friends in the school setting?
It is something that kids are going to have to prepare for, that even though it's going back to school maybe and seeing their friends, it's going to look a little bit different. And keeping those lines of communication open that they have been, throughout the last several months, whether it was, through Zoom or FaceTime and, all the other different apps that, kids use, that there still is a way to connect with their friends. And that's very important.
For parents who select the virtual option, what might be the impact on their children under those circumstances?
The impact of not having that socialization, not being around their friends. Academically, it could be very difficult for some kids to learn virtually versus actually being hands-on in the classroom. So I think there's a lot of aspects of it, but I think regardless of what parents choose to do, being very open with their kids and honest about what their expectations are, what it may look like. And then, also as parents, when you're having those discussions, with your partner, the guardian, is, to keep those conversations very separate from what you have with the children. They don't need to be involved in all the anxiety and the worry, and the confusion and even anger, about what the school year may look like.
What are the questions parents should be asking their children?
What do kids want? What are their expectations? What are their fears? Whether they're going to be going virtually, whether they're going to be in the classroom. The kids have fears that may be very different from a parent's perspective. And so a parent knowing exactly what it is that the children, are thinking about, what they're scared of, what their anticipation is something that parents need to be aware of so that they can be supportive, throughout this, big change over the next few months.
Anything else that would be important for us to know tonight?
It's such a difficult time with parents. I don't envy the parents that are having to make this, choice, but I think all parents need to make a choice for them that is good for their family. And that's what it's going to boil down to is, what are parents okay with? What are their own children's learning styles, fears, anxiety, what's going on with their child and their family. And that's how they need to make their decision, also incorporating all the guidelines and things like that to take into account.
Kim Crawford, therapist with the Family Services Center in Huntsville, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.